Hey YouTubers, how's everybody doing? Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you are doing well. My name is JC, and this is the Cuban Redneck DIY channel where we do cooking and grilling on Tuesdays and DIY stuff on Fridays. If you are a subscriber, you're probably getting a little bit sick of me saying that. Yes, it is becoming a little repetitive, but understand that out of the thousands who watch this channel on a monthly basis, only 5% are subscribers. So imagine landing on a channel looking for a recipe, and then Friday comes around and we're building speakers or working on a car or motorcycle or something. People are like, what the hell? So I like to put that out there, and a lot of people are okay with it. Some people, when a Friday video comes out, they don't subscribe. When a Tuesday video, they don't subscribe. I don't care. I'm okay with that, and understand that as conservatives, we respect your right to choose. However, if you landed in my kitchen, you're looking for a DIY project, if you click on the title of the channel, you will find multiple playlists to everything DIY, as well as now 2 dedicated playlists to cooking recipes. Now let's talk about today's video, where today we're going to be making a classic old school Cuban dessert called Dulce de Fruta Bomba. In the US, it's most often known as Dulce de Papaya or papaya dessert. And it has to do with this beautiful fruit. These are grown on my backyard. I have 3 trees, and they yield about 40 to 50 of them a year, which is awesome. Now, I say old school because outside of the Miami nucleus, Miami-Dade County area, where it's Cuban exile, community, you don't really find this anymore. It's very easy to make dessert. And while doing research for this, I asked my friend Kyle, who is certifiable full-grown redneck. I said, hey, what do you gringos call this thing? He just shrugged his shoulders and said, man, I've seen that all over the place, but I never ate it. I don't even know that you ate that. And as Abadesquez will say, son, you just lost 10% of your life. But anyways, know that the name papaya means tush in Cuban. So that's why we call this Fruta Bomba. I believe that my Venezuelan friends and Puerto Ricans, Dominicans call this Lechosa. Basically, it's the same thing. Normally for this dish, we will use a semi-ripe, almost green papaya or Fruta Bomba. I personally prefer it to be better than pintón, which means like half ripe. Already starting to show a little bit of yellow. A lot of people don't like that because they say that, it has fallen apart when they try to cook it. Most of the time, they try to put it in a pressure cooker or try to take some kind of shortcut. Understand that a pressure cooker is something relatively modern, and back in 100 years ago in Cuba, when they were making this, they had no pressure cooker. So I don't know where the pressure cooker came into this. Yeah, it takes a little bit, 45 minutes to an hour to cook, but what's the big deal? Just put it in low heat and walk away. I have some variations for it, and I also going to show you a restaurant trick, which is quite popular. I mean, a lot of people know how to do this, but they don't understand why, and that is to creating a little bit of a shell, or a little bit of a, I'm not going to say a crust, but it creates a little bit of a membrane on the outside that firms up, and it keeps a ripe papaya from breaking apart when you're cooking. This is a favorite during the 4th quarter of the year because, as I said, I get 40, 50 of these suckers. I make ice creams, milkshakes, all kinds of stuff. But today, we're going to be making and focusing on making a dulce de papaya or dulce de fruta bomba, Cuban style. Check this out. I know that some people don't like my explanations and my details on the recipe, but I really don't understand how you're going to learn anything when it comes to cooking from 3-minute videos that rush through the recipe and they just make little flashes for 2.5 seconds of the different ingredients. I personally have never been able to replicate any of those recipes, and the point of my channel is to get people to replicate what I am doing in the kitchen. So with that said, let's talk about the dulce de papaya, where we have some options, and those options having to do with personal taste.
I will be using 3 pounds of papaya fruit with 3 cups of sugar. In a restaurant environment, that is the golden ratio. It's actually 1 pound of fruit per 1 cup of sugar. I will be using a 50-50 mix of brown and white, and that is 100% optional. I find that the brown only is not sweet enough, and when you make it with white only, it's a little bit too sweet for my taste. I think the 50-50 mix is right in the middle and very acceptable. I'm also going to be doing something that a lot of people discourage, and that is adding a little bit of water. I'm going to be using a half a cup of water, and the reason for that is that I like my dulce de papaya to have quite a bit of syrup. I like to pour syrup on top of it. I find that when I don't add water, I don't get enough syrup. This fruit will release quite a bit of liquid, especially when they're ripe or semi-ripe, but sometimes it's just not enough. I'm also going to be using a splash of vanilla. I don't think this is standard in the recipe, but anyways, 3 to 4 sticks of cinnamon. I rarely make any point about buying, high-end stuff or high-quality stuff, but if you're gonna splurge on anything, buying some good cinnamon sticks for this dulce de papaya will be worth it. Before we move forward, let's talk about spices. A Cuban dulce de fruta bomba calls for either cloves or star anise. As a matter of fact, some people use them both. I'm not a fan of that. I think that they clash. My preference is the star anise, but I didn't have any, so I will be using cloves. Let's get started with our dulce de papaya, and to do that, we're going to deposit about 1 tablespoon of baking soda into a large mixing bowl. To this, we're going to add water and stir it to make sure it's well dissolved. We then can turn our focus into the papaya fruit, to which we're going to cut one end so that it will stand straight, and peel it. A lot of people use a knife for this, but I think that you waste a lot of meat when you do that. I will be using a potato peeler. Normally I will cut the back side, but this particular papaya fruit is a little bit damaged since it fell off the tree, as you will see a little bit later. So that's why I'm doing it with the front or the stem side down. Once peeled, we're going to cut it into quarters or halves, it's your choice, the long way. And with a large serving spoon, we're going to remove not only the seeds, but also the small hairy membrane that is in the inside. We don't want to leave that there because it turns sour as you cook it. With our papaya quarters now clean, we're going to cut it into 1-inch strips and deposit them into the baking soda water solution. This is a tricky part because it is very easy to overdo it. If the papaya is green, you don't want to have it in the baking soda solution for more than 10 minutes. If it's semi-ripe, no more than 15, and if it's ripe, no more than 20. After the time has expired, we want to go ahead and move it into a strainer and then rinse each and every piece thoroughly to make sure that all the baking soda is removed. At this point, we can move to the stove, and in a large saucepan with a lid, we're going to arrange each and every piece of papaya so that it's like an even layer. That's, as much as possible. I'm sure there's some going to be added, but no big deal. We're then going to add the sugar, the water, the cinnamon, the spices, and a splash of vanilla. Let's put the lid on and turn the heat on to a notch above medium. In my particular stove, number 6 is perfect. We're going to cook this untouched for 15 minutes. At which time we're going to check to make sure that nothing is sticking. If everything is good, put the lid back on, and then we're going to check again in 30 minutes. At the 30-minute mark, we want to go ahead and check, make sure nothing is sticking, but we also want to start arranging the pieces to make sure that all of them are submerged in the syrup. We are now at the 45-minute mark, and our dulce de fruta bomba or dulce de papaya is almost there, but not quite. So we're going to cover it and give it another 15 minutes. It has now been an hour, and as you can see, the pieces are starting to show translucency, or at least 80 or 90% of it is translucent. At this point, we're going to turn off the heat, put the lid back on, and let it cool at room temperature. After cooling it in the refrigerator for 1 hour, our dulce de papaya is ready to eat. However, I always find that it tastes better the day after. The normal way to plate this dish is with queso blanco cubano, which is kind of hard to get. I defaulted to the Philadelphia cream cheese, but I have to say that even some queso fresco would have been a better option. My friends, my name is JC. I hope you enjoyed this dulce de papaya, and I look forward to seeing you next week with a new recipe. Please support this channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. Thank you.